Well, thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here, share more about Impact 100 Cleveland and kind of my why and my meaning behind this. So, I first learned about Impact 100 Cleveland from living in Pensacola, Florida, where I grew up. They have the largest Impact 100 chapter in the world, where over 1,200 women come together every single year, collectively give $1,000 each and award $100,000 huge, impactful grants all throughout the Pensacola community. So this is something that I really just saw growing up. I've worked in nonprofits. I'm an avid volunteer. So I've seen just the transformational growth and meeting Pensacola's greatest needs through this organization. So whenever I moved to Greater Cleveland out in Avon Lake on the west side in 2024, I reached out to Global to try to see if there was an Impact 100 chapter near me, how I can get involved. And to my surprise, there was not one. And they were like, hey, do you want to be founding president and get this off the ground? My why is definitely just seeing that amazing work that happened in Pensacola and then really leveraging my small connections here in a new market to kind of get it up and running.
Sounds wonderful. And I think when we talked earlier by phone, you mentioned something about the amount that they've done over the years in
Oh yeah,
Pensacola.
since 2002 or 2003, they have done well over 100 million giving that out. They are definitely the largest chapter, and for a reason. They are, three times as big as a lot of the other ones, but it's just massive. And Pensacola is not a huge city like a New York City or Chicago or San Francisco or something. Like Pensacola, Florida is super small, niche. And so the fact that this is truly blown up there just goes to show the type of women that live in that community, the type of need that is in that community. Pensacola, Escambia County itself is the lowest income county in all of Florida. So even just looking at that demographic and the fact that they're the biggest chapter with the biggest giving, again, just goes to show how incredibly awesome that community is.
So marvelous
Yeah.
that women had the desire to get together and do this, and they've really made, as the name implies, a
Yeah.
terrific impact.
Impact.
Yes.
Yes.
So talk about Impact 100, if you would, and its unusual model.
Yes. So it was founded in 2001 by a woman named Wendy Steele in Cincinnati, so right here in Ohio. And she has a book, An Invitation to Impact, where it tells about her life story and her why behind it. But really, she has always faced just women having a seat at the table when it came to philanthropic giving. It was a lot of like the husbands writing the check or even just men being on boards. Anyway, she wanted to really just break down those barriers and see how she could collectively get women to truly have a seat at the table and lead the table, really. So the model is pretty simple. Every year you donate $1,000 and that goes directly to the grants pool. So there's no overhead cost. This is all volunteer, 100% volunteer led. Even at the global level, since we have a leader kind of holding our hands to make sure that we are abiding by the model, there's no fees that are going up to global or even to Wendy, who is still to this day our founder and president. So you have $1,000 every year going to this grants pool. Hopefully you make it to 100 to give away $100,000 grant. And after your donation, we open up the grants application process. So we have focus areas: arts and culture, environment, health and wellness, and education. And we have nonprofits in the community that would apply for projects that fall within those grants categories. And then we have grant focus area chairs that will go through and make sure that this organization is viable. We don't want to just give $100,000 to maybe someone who doesn't have a clear plan in place, or how is this going to truly impact the community? Not to say that we don't fund like salaries or buildings or stuff like that. We get very, very creative in the types of projects that we like to fund, but we like to make sure that it is impactful and is going to be transformational for our community. So we go through a few months of making sure that we're doing site visits, that their financials are all in line, and then we have an annual meeting where we come together and we all get to vote. So one woman, one vote of where we want to see our grant funds going to. So I think that's a really important part, that you're not just writing the check and then Hey, let's hope Brooke makes sure it gets to somewhere that is going to do good work. You are following your dollars throughout that grant cycle to make sure that it's going directly to that organization that we collectively choose.
Is that a lot of time involved?
I will say, as founding president, definitely a lot of time getting things up and running, bylaws, policies, and procedures, and all that kind of stuff. But another great thing about Impact 100 is that you can choose to be as involved as much or as little as you want. So we'll have members that just write that check and want to throw in their vote at the end of the year. Or there's some people that are like, no, I want to go through these grant applications. I want to sit in these committees and I want to spend a little more time being more invested into it. So for those women, you're donating a lot more time on top of your donation, but there's no requirements to serve on those committees or serve on a leadership role or a board member role. And just seasons of life. We have a board member who just had a baby, actually. So maybe she can't go to all of these meetings and help out as much right now, but that is totally fine because there's always next year to get involved.
Or the year after, or retirement.
Yeah, we will
Yes,
still be here for sure.
yes. Like you said, $1,000 a year.
Yes,
Is
yes.
that right?
Mhm.
I also like that members have the option of adding
Oh, yes,
voluntarily
yes.
$100. Please
Yes.
talk about that.
So we have two tiers of membership, if you will. So if you want to be a member, it's $1,000 and that goes directly to the grants pool. So we do have an option if you want to be a 110% member. A lot of women that I know give 110% in everything that they do, whether it's their job, their family, their hobbies. So we've seen more often than not women going ahead and giving that extra $100, and that is going to go to our operational costs. So again, there's no admin fees, there's no paid staff person, but there are things like printing or events or our web hosting or ads or billboards, all of those things that still, they're not fun to spend money on, but it's got to come from somewhere. So we graciously have amazing sponsors already from the community that bought into our mission and is giving us those higher sponsorship levels. But it is amazing to see our own members really buy into that mission as well on top of that grant. So we do have two types of memberships. You don't get anything extra as far as a different member pin or anything like that. No one knows that you joined at 110%. It's really just only you. So there's no downfall or anybody like calling you out for not being a 110% member. That's something just to help us keep our lights on metaphorically and to make sure that we keep running and that we're going to be our own sustainable organization.
That also helps to make it so that there's no cost for the organizations that apply for grants.
Exactly. If you're in the nonprofit world or if you're a grant writer or grant seeker for organizations, there's a lot of one invitation, like you have to be invited to apply for grants, or you have to pay anywhere from $50 to $500 to even apply for these grants because there is so much work and admin and even programming and softwares to go through and actually vet these grants to be awarded this money. So we like to keep it free for our nonprofits to actually come in and apply. Our grant software alone that we had to purchase was $5,000. So that's a cost that we have raised funds to, again, keep it free for our nonprofit partners to come in, especially in this political climate or just this economy. We don't want to put any more burden on any of these nonprofits to let them keep doing the good for our community.
And also, important point, the 1,100 is tax deductible
Yes, yes,
or
definitely.
or 1,000 or 1,100.
Yeah, since we are our own 501(c)(3), so that even that extra $100 is going straight to a nonprofit organization. So the entire thing is 100% tax deductible. We give you a receipt and we're able to take any sort of payment, whether that's a check, credit card. Some women use their DAF or donor advised funds. Some chapters, not us, will do like stocks or bonds or all of those types of things. We're not that robust just yet, but we try to make it as easy as possible to just submit payment however you'd like.
What about you, Brooke? What drew you to doing volunteer activities? Because you're a member of Junior League too,
Yeah. Yeah,
correct?
so I'm a member of Junior League. I'm on like the Parks and Rec Commission for Avon Lake. I've been involved in my early childhood PTA. So definitely that's something that fills my cup to really give back. But I think just giving back in general has been just woven into my story from the beginning. I was raised by a single mom. I remember whether it's our neighbors helping out for babysitting while she went to work, really relying on our community. I know we've definitely relied on food banks and other government assistance to really help us serve those basic needs. So I think me just having that personal tie and that personal story growing up to see how it's something that directly affected and helped me. I mean, look where I am today, where I'm coming back and making sure that that wheel is continuing and I'm able to pour into those same kind of programs that helped me and my family growing up. But really just those early experience really taught me that helping your neighbor isn't something extra. It's really just a part of being human. What are we here for? I mean, there you can go down a whole bunch of different rabbit holes to kind of see what the meaning of life is. But I truly think lending when you can, helping when you can, and just doing a little something good is really part of something that continues to light me up and fill my cup.
That's wonderful. And it's important to note that you are working as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It is
am,
not, you are
yeah.
not a woman of leisure.
Yes. No, that's what I was like. My husband definitely thinks I need to like sit on the couch, watch TV. I am a high achiever and like to be busy and like to always be doing something. And then having that extra layer of something that matters really, really helps me. And I'm a mom of two. So I have two young daughters, Ellie and Frankie. They're 4 and 2. So they're really another part of my why. I really want them to grow up and see kindness as a normal part of life. I want them to see me serve and to volunteer and to lift people up so they grow up believing those exact same things and that it's normal and something that they should truly do as well.
That's lovely. Thank you. We need that. We
Yeah.
always need more kindness,
Yes.
compassion in the world.
Always.
Oh my goodness. So when you and your husband moved to the
Yes.
Cleveland area and you founded this chapter officially in February of
Yes.
this year of
Mhm. Yeah.
2025, how difficult was it? Was there a lot of interest or not?
Starting something from scratch is never simple, right? Whether it's a recipe or building a whole organization or starting over with a new job. But there was definitely a lot of hiccups and a lot of bumps along the way. There was definitely interest, excitement, a lot of generosity from women across our region, but it was hard for me, especially coming to a brand new market. I grew up in Pensacola, lived there my entire life. So I think just the network that I had, joining Junior League, joining some of these other organizations, I was able to leverage my relationships there and kind of help spread the word. But I knew that I couldn't do it alone. So my very first task was to build a board of women that didn't look like me, that didn't have the same skill set as me, and fill those holes of things that I lacked. So I'm really good at marketing and communications and social media and building our website. Like I got that, but I've never applied for a grant. I have worked in the nonprofit sector, but I was more like volunteer management more than grants management. So I really was intentional about finding women who are smarter than me to make sure that we are building this as best and as well-rounded as possible. Like you said, we launched in February 2025 and we had our full board maybe by May. So anywhere from our grants director to our membership and recruitment. We got another social media chair, data management, community investment committee. We have a board of almost 20 women. So there's a lot of people. It was really an awesome thing whenever I looked back at our chart and like, wow, we really built this board and these will be our biggest champions of really launching this. And also $1,000 is a lot of money. It's definitely a stop and think gift. I have never given $1,000 to charity at all. This group is not a bunch of affluent women or people that can easily just write this. They choose to because they believe in the mission and they see that direct impact. So that is something that I have definitely had a barrier with here. It's a brand new organization and you want me to write $1,000 to this organization, I think that's the biggest conversations. But we do have info sessions, and I think even though we're the first in Greater Cleveland, we're not the first in the world to really see this model blossom.
Even the first in Ohio, which
Yeah,
is
correct.
interesting.
Yeah, when Wendy Steele launched it in Cincinnati, People magazine actually picked up that story and made an article about her and how Pensacola got started because they were like maybe the second or third chapter. Her name was Debbie Ritchie and she was on a plane just reading the magazine and she was like, I want to bring this to Pensacola. Right away, they didn't get, 1,200 members like they have today, but over 20 years, it's just continued to snowball.
What is your vision for
Yeah.
Impact 100 Cleveland?
So I will say I'm very competitive, right? So my first question to Global was like, what's the chapter that started out with the most? And I want to beat that goal, right? So the goal was like 308 or something. The Northwest Florida chapter started a few years ago, and they had their founding class with over 300 members. So I was like, all right, 308. Our goal is 309. That's my vision. That's what I want to do. But of course, our first deadline for our inaugural year is the end of this year. It's mid-November right now. So I don't think we're going to quite make the 300. So I think really any amount that we do award is going to be a success. We do have our big reveal that is happening in January 2026. Yeah, so we will announce our final number of the members that we have. So I would just love to see it continue on. I want to build a sustainable organization that I don't have to be president of and be able to do all this work forever. I want to be able to pass the baton to somebody else and just see, 25 years from now, it does get to maybe 500 members or 1,200 members one of these days. But I just want to continue to see it do good. And I think we're already meeting that goal for sure.
Yes. And when you do pass the baton, will you be following your husband's advice and sitting on the sofa and
I
reading or
mean, if
something?
I can ever truly slow down, like I feel like once you stop doing something, you got to use it or lose it, right? Got to make sure to keep busy. But I feel like I always find some kind of hobby, whether that's pouring more into my creative side of doing photography or getting more involved in my sorority alumni association, or, maybe taking a year or two off and just volunteering with my girls' school or something like that.
You'll figure it out for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly. I would be lying if I said I would want to be sitting on the couch watching TV all the time, but I definitely know that I can't be on the go all the time. And I do have to make sure that my cup is filled and that I'm recharged before I continue to pour in others. So that is something that I've definitely learned. I'm passionate, want to do something, want to give back, but I got to make sure to take care of myself as well.
And for more information, people can go to impact100cleveland.org.
Yes.
Correct.
Our
Yes.
one-stop shop. It has links to our social media pages. So whether you are an interested member that wants to learn more, or if you're a potential donor, or if you're a nonprofit that wants to learn about our grants process, we can raise as much money as possible, but we are not the good doers. We need these nonprofits to come up with these projects and able to actually make that mark in our community. So if you know a nonprofit, feel free to send them that information because we definitely want to spread the word.
Sounds wonderful, Brooke. Is there anything else?
No, I think we covered a lot of it, but thank you so much for helping me really spread the word about our organization and kind of share my why. But yeah, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today.
Same here. I've enjoyed it very much.
So
Thank you again.